all of you that don't know me, my name is David Flores, and my wife is Roxanne. And with God's blessing, in August we'll be celebrating our 40th anniversary. And we've been together since we were 13 years old, so since we were little kids, and we've been together ever since. And I really wanted to do is I wanted to thank the whole congregation for your prayers, for your thoughts, for your words of encouragement during my time here that I've been battling this cancer. Every Sunday when we walk in these doors, there's always at least 5 or 6 people that come and ask me how I'm doing and how am I feeling. And a lot of them know, hey, wasn't this your treatment week? And we're praying for you. So I appreciate that. I really do. I'll remember that for the rest of my life. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in a Christian home, but as always, sometimes when you become adults, you don't go to church. And, I always prayed, and I knew that He was always going to be there for me. But I was born with cancer. I had a cancerous tumor when I was 6 weeks old, and they found it in my left eye. So luckily, they removed it, and everything was fine. I grew up normal, just like any other little kid, because I didn't know what it was like to have 2 eyes. So I played sports, and played football and baseball and everything. I did everything that everybody else could do. Learned how to drive, what have you. So fast forward to 2013, I suffered a stroke. And I had been having symptoms for a while, and finally my left side got all numb. And my wife, she said, that's enough, you need to go to the doctors. So she dragged me to the doctor. And they did an MRI on me, and they found out you're having a stroke right now. And they rushed me right to the hospital. And thank God that I didn't get physically disabled. They corrected that, but what it did is it made me legally blind. It took away 80% of my right eye, so I only have 20% left on my right eye, the good eye. And so it took me about 3 or 4 months. The doctor said that my brain would rewire itself, and I would get my vision, because it was actually double, and I couldn't really focus a lot. Went through rehab, came back, and I could function again, but still, I only had 20% left. I could still read, and I can watch TV, and I'm a woodworker, so I do a little bit of woodworking on the side, but real slow, because my wife, she gets really nervous when I get into the garage and work, and she thinks I'm going to cut my arm off or something. I told her, dear, I said, don't worry about that, I'll be just fine. And so it took me, like I said, about 3 or 4 months to get my eyesight back. It's still only about 20%. What I've had left is good. So in January, last summer I really wasn't feeling that well, and I was kind of exhausted a lot. And I was, my back was really hurting a lot. My shoulders, I couldn't lift my arms above my shoulders very much because I was in pain. And sometime around the middle of December, I started having problems swallowing. And I had a lot of stomach. It wasn't really a lot of pain, but a lot of discomfort. And my wife, she kind of noticed that I was having a little problem swallowing. And she said, are you all right? And I said, yeah, I'm all right. I said, I'll tell you later. I didn't really want to say anything at the dinner table in front of my kids or anything. So she said, well, what's going on? After dinner, and she said, what's going on? I said, well, I'm having a little problem swallowing, in my stomach. She said, well, we need to take you to the doctor. And I said, well, why don't we wait until after the holidays? I don't want, nothing to crop up before the holidays. So we were ready right after the holidays, and so we went to the doctors. And I went to my primary doctor, and so I told him what my symptoms were. He says, I'm going to send you to a gastroenterologist, and they're going to stick a tube down your throat, and we'll figure out what's going on. So they set it up for the following week, and so they did the scope. And in the recovery room, the doctor came in and he says, I'm sorry to tell you, but he says, you have esophageal cancer. And he says, you have a tumor that's blocking your food from going down. That's why we're having a hard time swallowing. And he says, you also have some tumors in your stomach, so we had to take a biopsy of that. So he says, so I'm going to set you up with a CAT scan tomorrow in the morning, and we're going to see if there's, anything further that we need to find out. So they set up the CAT scan in the morning, and then so we went in the morning, had the CAT scan done. In the afternoon, he called, and he says, would you like the news now, or do you want to wait? And my wife said, no, we need it right now, and we need to know what we're facing. And he says, yes. He says, your tumor is cancerous. He says, unfortunately, you have cancer in your stomach also. And he says, it's already spread into your lymph nodes. So he says, I'm going to set you up with a cancer doctor. And so we went to the cancer doctor, and he set it up for the following week. And I went to the cancer doctor, and we had a consultation with her. And she said, well, before we do anything, we need to find out where it is, how much you have, how far advanced it is. So they set me up with what's called a PET scan. And the next day I had the PET scan done. And I think the next day or the next couple of days I had the PET scan. And she called me the following day, and she says, unfortunately now it's in your bones also. So I had from my shoulder blade down to my knees, I had bone cancer also. So on the way home, I told Roxanne, I says, we need to go to church. We need to go back to church. We lived in the neighborhood here. We always drove by here. And we had kind of been looking for a church for a while, and I said, well, why don't we just, what would it be like to go to that church? So when this happened, I said, I told her we need to go to church. I said, I need all the prayers I can get. I said, God's the only one that's going to help me through this. So we came, and we were greeted by Miss Helen. And she greeted us so graciously, and she was happy to see us and happy that we had come to visit this church. And so she directed us. Well, when she said her name was Helen, me and my wife looked at each other. I got a little story about that. 21 years ago, when my mom was in the hospital, and it was in her last few days of life, and she had a respirator, she couldn't talk, but she was still alert. And she was a Christian woman, like I said. I was born and raised in a Christian church. And like I said, the last few days she couldn't talk because she had a respirator on, but she was alert, somewhat alert. But on her last day before she went into a coma, she could write to us. And the last note she wrote to me was, go to church. And my mom's name was Helen. So when Helen greeted us at the door, that was like a sign that I was in the right place at the right time. So now I've gone through all my treatments, and they wanted to do actually one more, and I said no. I said I prayed a lot in the last couple of weeks and asked God for some guidance, and my body's had enough already for now. I need to get my strength back so I can continue on with my journey back home to Michigan. We've been here for 10 years. San Antonio Antonio for 8 and here for 2. After my stroke, my son convinced me to come to McKinney and live with him. He said, that way you and Mom can do whatever you all want to do, just enjoy life. Because for the last 6 years before we came here, me and Roxanne were caregivers for one of my brothers. He's handicapped, deaf, and so we were taking care of him. And I think when I had my stroke, he said that would be enough. My wife couldn't take care of him and me at the same time, so he called his daughters. And so that way he was kind of relieving us of our duties with him. So that's how we ended up here. And that's just another thing that God puts in place for me to move up here, because I've had excellent care with my doctors. I've had good doctors, and they actually said that was fine. They said my body's had enough already, and so they released me, and I have everything already set up in Michigan already. But I wanted to thank everybody for their prayers. And a couple weeks ago, I was talking to Chris. He's my Sunday school teacher, and I told him that that today was going to be our last day. And he said, well, when you move up there, are you going to find into the church? And I said, absolutely. I said, that's the first thing I'm going to do. And he said that, I want you to know that you're always going to be a member of this church. Amen. And we're not letting you go. We're sending you out on a missionary as part of our church. And I think that's why I'm asking God to keep me alive, because my mom always said that God always puts you on this earth for missions. And I think I still have a few missions left to do before God calls me home. That's why I'm not afraid of what's going to happen, because I already have God on my side. That's why I think I'll never forget this church ever, even for the 4 months that we've been coming here. I will always remember all of you for all my life. The minute I walk every day, every Sunday when I walk through those doors, I feel the Holy Spirit just come over me. And just listening to the songs brings tears to my eyes. And then hearing Pastor B with his sermons. So thank you for all your prayers. Please keep me in your prayers. We're going next week. We're leaving Wednesday or Thursday down to San Antonio to visit my brothers and sisters and say my last goodbye, because they're all in their 70s. I don't know if I'll ever be able to see them again, because I don't know about my health, if I'll ever be able to come back here again. And I had a little idea. I told my sister, well, you know what, instead of having just us, the brothers and sisters, why don't we have a little family reunion? So we're having all my cousins, or we're going to have a little picnic at a park for all my cousins. And she said she's had a pretty good response, because we have a really close family, and a lot of them are already responding, saying they're going to be there, because I want to see everybody, in case I don't, it's all in God's hands. It's whatever you want. So we'll be going on to San Antonio. We'll be returning back on Monday, the following Monday, and then we're loading up on Thursday, and then hopefully with God's grace and God's blessing, we'll be leaving on the 17th on Friday. We're stopping in Nashville. It's where Roxanne's twin sister lives. We'll be there for 3-4 days, and then we'll continue on our journey to Michigan. We should be in Michigan on the 21st or on the 22nd of June. My doctor's appointment set up for the 27th of June, so they're all ready and waiting for me. So I just want you to please continue your prayers for me, for my health, and at least give me some time to finish up some of the missions that I have left to do before I get called home. So thank you very much for your prayers.
That's probably the best sermon you're going to hear today. You're sitting by someone that you love, care for. As we pray, would you hold their hand